what's up guys? I'm here today giving you some pro tips on how to handle some water spots. We have a black car, a nice demonstration car, and although these water spots aren't super terrible, this is just a nice little tutorial, a nice little visual to show you how to properly handle water spots chemically, an explanation behind it, and why you shouldn't always just grab a polisher right away when you're trying to get rid of these guys. Alright, so we've got a pretty new Ford Raptor, and let me move the camera closer. Although, if you look at the paint, you might say, well, there's no water spots on this thing, but when we washed and clayed it, you could see it. So one thing with water spots is you may not always see them on the surface before you start polishing, but when you go over it with some sort of solvent, anything soluble, they'll start to appear because you're in essence reactivating them. So what I'm doing here is taking some IGL Delete, if you could get that in the picture, and once I start to wipe this panel with the Delete, you'll actually see the water spots. So let me try to get a good angle so you can see when I introduce the Delete, you can see the spots. So essentially what I want to do is prep this panel and get rid of these. Now, a little bit of an explanation behind water spots is they're really not water at all. What it is it's airborne minerals and contaminants. Depending on where you're located, if you're near a body of water, an ocean, anything like that, even sprinklers, because they use reclaimed water, this water source is loaded with minerals. So basically what happens is it lands on the surface, the minerals are in the water evaporates, and that's what's left over. Now, a lot of people will go right to a polisher to get rid of these. Will it get rid of them? Yes. Will a clay bar get rid of it? Yes and no. We've already clayed this car, and you can see that just from wiping, these water spots are not gone. So we clayed this pretty good, and the clay bar was not aggressive enough to get rid of it. Obviously, polishing will get rid of the water spots. However, essentially what you're doing when you're polishing is it's mechanical abrasion, so it's working on the surface, but the minerals are coming off of the surface and onto the pad, and then as the pad goes over the surface, you're reheating up the panel, expanding the paint, and potentially pushing that contamination back into the surface. So it is very far stretched. Would a coating fail from that? Likely not. Would it affect longevity? Yes, it could. I've honestly never done a test. It may be something that I could do, but you can clearly see that if we weren't to, do some sort of chemical removal, that these water spots are clearly still visible. Polishing them off will get rid of them. And a lot of times you do have to polish, but that is not because there's minerals. It's actually because what happens is every time those minerals are on the surface and it's exposed outdoors. So let's say you're in a humid state where there's a lot of moisture in the air. Every time the moisture is in contact with the substrate, those minerals are reactivated. So they constantly begin to eat away at the paint over and over and over again. So then what happens is the water spots, it creates mineral etching. So it's at the point to where you could actually wipe it down with an acid like this. You could completely actually remove the mineral, but it's eating away at the paint, and that's when you have to sit there and wet sand or buff and polish or whatever you have to do. So a lot of times people think, oh, well, I had to go to a car and I had to buff and polish it to get rid of the water spots. Well, that's mineral etching. That's actually not a water spot. What we have right here is just basic water spots. And really the best thing to do for this, to save on time and to make sure that your substrate is balanced, is actually go over it with a water spot remover like IGL Delete. And then what I like to do is just do a solvent prep or an alkaline wipe down to re-neutralize the surface. So this will save you a lot of time too, because then you don't have to sit there and get super intricate in all these little areas. All you're just doing is a quick wipe down, and this even carried over onto the door. These were actually sprinklers, so this wasn't just from environmental minerals, but you can even see, I think I wiped there already, on the door it carried over a little bit. I think I got most of it already, but this car did have minerals deposits on it, so it was very important that we went over it. It goes up on the hood here, so you can see, and you can tell when it's not wet, you don't see it at all. So you think, oh, this paint's great. And then as soon as you introduce some sort of soluble there, you can pop them up, but they come out very easy. So this really is the best way to not only effectively remove these water spots, but properly prep your surface for polishing, for ceramic coating, for anything like that. So that is just a fun little tip. The product we used here was IGL Delete. Let me turn the bottle. It is a favorite of mine. As you can tell, this bottle is weathered and it's been used for years, but it is a product that is very user-friendly for professional certified detailers only. But we recommend that if you are running a business or a detail shop, quality products are the best thing to do, and this is a quality product. So I'm going to continue to prep this surface here. I thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you will tune in more, and if you don't, that's okay. So next time we'll have more, and we hope you like and subscribe. So thank you.